Why did you click on this video? There's so many better ones that you could have picked. I guess now that you're here, I have no other choice than to entertain you, or at least try to. Today, I'm going to be going through and ranking almost every Nissan from 1983 to 2025. I will forget some along the way. We're not going to do every single model and every single variation. So like when we get to the Skyline, we're not going to do the GTT, the GTR, the GTST, the GTLM. We're just doing a generalization of that chassis just to save a little bit more time. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully it's not too confusing. So, let's start off with the 1982 to 1986 Nissan 720 pickup truck. Now, this thing is pretty dang good, extremely reliable, good box frame construction, easy to lower, easy to modify, fun to daily drive, pretty comfortable to sit in, and they look pretty cool too. I think we're going to start off with an A tier. That's a good solid truck. There's not really many downsides to owning one. Not to mention that this truck also has a rare diesel option, which, I mean, come on, that's pretty cool. And they also have, I'd say this truck is honestly up there with the Toyota 22RE reliability wise, but it's less popular, which means it's cheaper and more affordable. So that has to go in A tier. That's my final vote for that. Up next is the 83 through 86 Nissan Pulsar. This one here specifically is a convertible. I think they were offered in a Cooper convertible. This is kind of a, whatever car. We'll look at it with our rose-tinted glasses like, ooh, it's car, but 80s, so that makes it cool, right? Yeah, kinda. It only had about 115 horsepower from the factory, which is pretty good for the day, but now it leaves a little bit to be desired. We're going to put that in B. Yeah, we'll leave it in B tier for now. Now, moving on, we have the 1983 to 1986 Nissan Stanza. Some of you may not have heard of the Stanza before, but upon further research, it is essentially the Nissan Altima before the Nissan Altima. It is the predecessor. There's a reason they don't make them anymore, is because they just replaced it with the Nissan Altima. It's as simple as that. So this is the car that started, all of the welfare checks and bad drivers meeting associations. This is the genesis right here. This is Mark 1. This car was available with a 2-liter engine, which, it's pretty acceptable in the mid-80s. It's not anything special, though. It looks kind of cool. It looks like a Scirocco. I think we're going to throw that in B tier, just behind the Pulsar. Up next is a car that I would love to own one day. This thing right here is the Nissan 200SX from 1983 to 1988. In Japan, this was commonly referred to as the S12 chassis, the predecessor to the S13 or S14, whatever. This thing was available with a 4-cylinder or a V6 turbo option, which, I mean, for 1985 or whatever, that's crushing it. That is super cool in a small compact hatchback. Plus, the side profile, it has that AE86 vibe going. It looks cool. It looks fast. It looks fun. And they're actually pretty rare. They're hard to find now. There's not many left because, they're like 40 years old. Why would there be? I think it had some cool engine options. The styling is great. I would personally buy one tomorrow if I had the funds. I'm going to put it in S tier. I love that car. It's super cool. Super badass. Up next is the 83 to 88 Maxima wagon. This thing is bitchin'. I don't care who you are. Come on. A station wagon, but rectangle? How can you get better than that? You can't physically improve on that design. If you take car, then you make car square, car better. Don't ask me to explain it. I have a weird love affinity towards wagons, as you might notice throughout the video. But this thing is just super cool. They're not you can't even find them on Marketplace anymore. They're all gone. And all the ones you see are just total rust buckets, or they're missing 2 doors, or they have broken glass. Coolest part about these cars, these old Maximas, they were available with inline 6 engines, gas or diesel. So somewhere out there, some old lady still has a diesel Maxima wagon with a 5-speed. I can't think of a cooler car. That is like the best daily that you could ever have. All right, call me crazy. Is it that good? Compared to some of the other stuff on this list, I'm gonna put it in front of the 200SX. I don't think it's quite the upper echelon. I don't think it's quite the coolest thing ever made. It is pretty close to it, but we have to save S Plus for the couple of really special cars on the list. Next up is the 83 to 88 Maxima sedan. This is just the regular. It's like the same thing. It's just not a wagon. I'm gonna put it in A tier because it's it's rectangle. Rectangle cool, right? Obviously. You know what? Honestly, I'm gonna put it in the top of B tier. Maybe. I'm gonna put it in the top of B tier. I don't know. It's less cool because it's not a full-blown rectangle. If it had like 3 extra pieces of glass on it, then it would be something special. But it doesn't. So it's just a normal car. But still available with the diesel and gas 6-cylinder options, which is pretty cool. I won't lie about that. Up next is the 83 to 89 Z31 300ZX. This car was available with naturally aspirated or a turbocharged version, all primarily based off the VG30 engine platform, which was Nissan's flagship V6 motor for a long time. This car, the styling is like really stood the test of time. It looks pretty nice even today. There's not really many downsides. Some of these cars even came with a fully digital dash, which even to this day, it looks so fucking cool. I mean, have you seen one before? They are absolutely gorgeous. It is like the absolute pinnacle of the mid to late 1980s automotive design. You had some companies, like, Chevy was doing it with the Corvette, and I think Buick had a couple of cars where they had a fully digital dash, and it's just a lost art at this point. This is a great car. It's a great chassis overall, too. Very well balanced. It's got a pretty decent motor for the time, available with a 5-speed manual or a 4-speed automatic. This is a great car. I'm not gonna lie. It's a good car. We're gonna put it in A tier for now. Up next on the list is a car that I did not know existed a couple of days ago. This is the 1986 through 1988 Nissan Sentra Sport Coupe. And this thing, oh my gosh, look at it. Half of the pictures you see online of this thing are in black and white. That's how you know how rare and obscure this is. When was the last time you ever saw a Sentra Sport Coupe? They only made them for 3 years, and I'm imagining they stopped making them because they only sold 15 of them, maybe 16. The car looks like an AE86 if you squint really hard. Has a 1.6 liter 70 horsepower motor. That's right, 70. That is unfathomable. I don't know if you could manage to keep that much horsepower planted on the ground. I am going to put my rose-tinted glasses on here because this thing is cool. The factory wheels look cool. The interior looks amazing. The overall body shape is cool as hell. I'm putting this one in S+. If I found one of these in my town tomorrow on Marketplace and I had the money, I would buy it. I'm not even joking. Like, this thing is cool. Yeah, it's slow. Whatever. It probably can't even get on the freaking highway without, zinging it up to 6,000 RPM and then cranking it back into third gear, but come on. There's enough overriding factors there. That car, 80s but good. Very good. Very, very, very good. Up next is the 83 to 86 Nissan Sentra, available in coupe or sedan, I believe. Maybe a hatchback as well, but not the same as this. It's a different one. This is a very reliable car. All of these cars were pretty much just 4 cylinders, super reliable, low stress engines. They weren't very complex or intricate. They were just workhorses. These were really designed to get you to the strip club and back on a weekly basis. And I think this is not the best looking car in the world to me, It's not ugly or anything. It's just it's not super inventive in its personality. See, like this thing has got, the Maxima wagon, you have full blown rectangle. This thing is rectangle, but look at it, it's got the big, ugly, chunky crash bumpers on the front. It's, part of the safety bullshit that America had going. Sort of hurt the look of this car. And also, the factory wheels aren't nothing special either. I'm going to throw this car. Ooh. I think we'll do it in the top of B just because of the reliability factor. Because I know these, if you still find the old Sentras on Marketplace every once in a while, they're still going. Sure, they might be a little rusty, but the motors are still intact, present, and working hard. Now, we move on to the 86.5 through 1995 Nissan Pathfinder. Talk about an excellent off-roading vehicle. Available with a 2.4 liter inline 4 or a 3.3 liter V6 engine. This thing's pretty stout. I mean, there's a reason that these are still popular. And this one too. This one's the late 80s one, this one's the early 90s one. There's just a slight difference in the rear window design. I'm probably going to rate them the same because they really are the same. I think we're going to throw I might be, controversial here. I'm going to put the early 90s one to the mid 90s one ahead of the the very early late 80s Pathfinder, because I think the mid 90s Pathfinder, I like the rounded bubbly dash more than the boxy rectangle one. Moving on to the D21 Nissan Hardbody, produced from 86.5 through 1997. This thing is a legend. If you haven't seen one of these trucks before, I really think your name must be Patrick Starr. You're living under a fucking rock. What are you doing with your life? This is like peak, hardworking Mexican, or, crackhead, or you live in a West Virginia holler. The list goes on. This thing is great. I've owned one personally, and I've worked on them before. They're so easy to work on. They're so easy to maintain. And they're still easy to get parts for. They sold so many of these things that you can go to lots of junkyards and still get parts for them. Like, I think my local junkyard, they have 4 of these right now, just chilling. These were offered with originally the Z24 2.4 liter inline 4 engine and the VG33 V6 motor. But later on in time, they switched away from the Z24, which is a pretty old engine at that point. It was, the Z24 was offered in the 720 pickup truck since the early 80s. They transitioned to the KA24 single overhead cam engine, which is a very nice engine. Very easy to work on. Very long stroke, but we all love a good long stroke, don't we? I'm going to put the hardbody in the top of S tier. No, I'm not. I'm going to put the hardbody at the top of S plus tier. The OG hardbody. It's hard to beat it, okay? Coming up next is a vehicle that some of you may never have heard of before. This is the late 80s to early 90s Nissan Sunny pickup truck, offered exclusively not in America. So if you didn't live in America, you could have a very cool truck. And you may be thinking, oh yeah, whatever, it's just like a small truck. No, dude, this is it's the same size as a Miata, but pickup truck. And I'm not joking. I've sat in one before. They are comically small. These things have this one specifically is powered by a 1.2 liter Datsun motor, making 70 horsepower. And they're actually, they're fairly reliable. It's the type of motor that, when you turn on the air conditioner, if it was equipped from the factory, I think the air conditioner in these trucks, it probably took about 65 horsepower to run out of a 70 horsepower motor. But also at the same time, this entire truck would have only weighed around 1,800 to 2,200 pounds at most. It's a super lightweight. It's not the most intricate as far as suspension design goes, but does it need to be? It looks cool. It's actually pretty spacious inside, even for myself. I'm not the smallest person in the world. I'm gonna put the Sunny pickup truck in. I'm gonna put it in A tier. I really wanted to put it in S tier, but I know it's not actually that good. I just personally like it. I just have to look past my my own bias here because I was on the fence of buying one of these a while ago. You know, I will at least put it in front of the 720 because I would rather have a sunny truck than a 720 just because of the wow factor, right? Because, ooh, wow, look, JDM tax, right-hand drive, cool. Moving on to the 1989 to 1994 Nissan Maxima. This was available with a single overhead cam or dual overhead cam V6 engine, which is pretty good. You know, that's some good engine choices for the early 90s. Good styling all around, decent looking interior. You know, the VG30 motors are really reliable. There's not really a big downside to them. I'm going to throw this in. I don't. Is it better than a Pathfinder? I don't know. It just depends on if you like off-roading and stuff. I'm going to put it in A tier, just behind the 300Z, because you essentially have the exact same drivetrain from the 300Z put into the Maxima, more or less. Now we move on to another rare, uncommon Nissan. We're going to skip around the list a little bit because I want to try and stay in year order. This is the 87 through 1990 Pulsar Sportback. And my goodness, this thing is just goofy as it gets. Talk about a weird car. You see one of these in person, you're like, what the fuck is that? That just looks fucking stupid. But in a cool way. So, I'm thinking, just for the cool factor alone, we're going to put it in A tier. It's not nothing else special. It doesn't have, like, 100 million horsepower or crazy rare paint colors or whatever. It just looks cool. There's nothing else to it. It just looks cool. Moving on to the 1989 through 1991 Nissan POW. This was available not in America, and this is just a tiny little, hatchback thingy. Has a 1-liter engine with 50 horsepower. I mean, come on. I've seen one of these before. They're pretty goofy looking. They're kind of fun. It's kind of like the same sort of idea as like a Mini Cooper, like one of the old ones. It's not really special or anything. I'm going to put it behind the OG Maxima because I would rather have an OG Maxima over one of these. Up next is the 89 Nissan Figaro, which was available with the same engine as the Nissan POW, but with a turbo. Ooh. I don't really like the way this car looks. I understand if you do, because it's kind of weird and goofy. It's super bubbly and whatever verb you want to use. I'm just not a big fan. Has a, like I said, the 1-liter turbo engine. I don't know. I just don't like the way it looks. Call me crazy. I'm going to put it in C tier just because vibes. All right? Don't argue with me because I don't care. Up next is the late 80s Nissan President. Now, the late 80s Nissan President is really the true incarnation piece of the Japanese Yakuza type car. This is a total mob boss gangster type car. Really big, really fancy. It's practically a limo. I wouldn't actually want to own one though. They're not really like super cool or anything. They had I think this one had a V8 engine option, so probably just above the POW. We'll put it, just behind the OG Maxima. That's kind of my baseline, really. If I wouldn't want to own it, it's probably going to end up behind the base OG Maxima. Moving on now to the 1990 to 1994 Nissan Pulsar GTI, which, if you don't know, then you really are living underneath a rock because this thing was a wicked hatchback. Available with the SR20 DET motor, all-wheel drive, and a manual transmission. It's not even a question, bro. This is, does it go in front of the hard body? It has to. It has to go in front of the hard body. That is such a cool freaking car, mainly because it's slept on. It's not like the GTR or whatever where everyone knows about it and everybody wants one. No, you can still get Pulsar GTIRs for affordable, for cheap. They're just so goddamn cool. I mean, look at it. It's an all-wheel drive turbo hatchback from the early 90s. Do I really have to say more? Do I have to prove my point any more than that? Okay, I had to go back and add in a few more Nissans because I realized that I forgot to. So from this point on, the list may jump around in years a little bit more than expected to. So sorry about that. Anyways, moving on to the 1991 through 1996 Nissan NX 2000. This thing is essentially a Sentra with a weird body kit, you know, a naturally aspirated SR20 motor, which was around 140 horsepower, independent front and rear suspension, a goofy looking interior, goofy exterior. I think it had T-tops. It's pretty cool. We're going to throw it in A tier. Why not? It's pretty cool. All right. All the fanboys, sit down. All right, get ready. We're doing some big boy cars now. We're going to start with the R32 GTR. Godzilla himself. RB26 DETT. That's 2 turbos of pure ceramic perfection. Some of you might know, I have the poor man's version of this car myself, the GTST. I really, really like it. I'm trying not to rate these GTRs with the glazing factor, but it's hard. The GTR R32 was a absolute dominating force in every racing series that it entered. There's a reason that it got the nickname Godzilla, because it won like every single race that it entered except for like 1 or 2. It is truly an exceptional piece of engineering. And if you think about other cars of this time frame, let's go back just a little bit. Think about the 300Z and, you know, the OG Maxima or the 200SX. This is such a huge step above all of those other cars. It's not even comparable. You have like, you know, kind of slow, and then you have on another planet in the upper stratosphere. I'm really trying not to put this in S+ tier because it'll make me look like a fanboy, but come on. Like, it's a no-brainer. If you want to fight me in the comments, leave a comment. I'll bitch you out. You ain't gonna win. This is like the absolute pinnacle of Nissan. There's a reason these are expensive and famous and they're cool, because they're actually good cars. I'm just gonna go out there and say it. They're actually good cars. Sorry, I had to get my glazing out of the way. Now I can see straight. We're gonna do the R33 GTR next. Okay? Are you ready for this? R33 GTR, the sort of red-headed stepchild of the R world. It's got like almost all the same shit as the R32. I think it has the same suspension front and rear with some minor differences. Slightly different interior, same transmission and engine options. You know, the RB26 twin turbo. I'm gonna put it in regular S tier though. You know, I'm going to put it behind the Maxima wagon just to piss some people off. But I don't know. It's not quite as cool. It's obviously still cool. I didn't say it wasn't cool. It's just not as good as the 32 GTR, in my opinion. And then to finish off the GTR trio, we're going to do the R34 GTR. Hold your horses now, people. This one's sort of the Mac Daddy. This is the most expensive, most collector-ish, the most well-valued Nissan on the planet. Is it actually as good as the 32 GTR? Is it actually that good? It's got a lot more computer systems, but it is better because of it. But it also kind of makes them annoying to work on. If any of those systems go bad, it's a pain in the butt to get them working right. I know these have the Altezza and the Highcast and all sorts of shit that is a massive pain in the ass to work on if it breaks. I'm going to put this... I'm going to put it right there, right behind the R32. Fight me if you want. See if I fucking care. Now we're going to do S13. Why not? S13 hatch or coupe or convertible, manufactured from 89 to 94. This is a solid car, okay? 20 years ago, these were great cars because they were cheap, affordable, they weren't rusty, nobody wanted them. Nowadays, though, there's not really a lot of good ones left, which leads to the prices of good ones being through the fucking roof. These are great cars. They're very well balanced. They're super fun to drive. They don't have a lot of horsepower, to be honest. Out of the single overhead cam KA24 engine, they weren't exactly rocket ships or anything. I'm gonna put the S13 at the top of A tier. No, I'm gonna put it in S tier, just above the 200 SX or the S12 chassis. Technically, we're gonna do the S14 next. Now, some of you might know I have an S14. Do I think it's the best car ever made? No. But it looks better than an S13, and it's more rare than an S13. It's more obscure than an S13. But there are some downsides, definitely. For instance, the fuel tank in an S14 is a big hollow piece of plastic that will break if you look at it wrong. That's really one of the biggest downsides, though. I'm going to put the S14... I'm going to put it right there, in front of the R33 GTR, still behind the Maxima wagon, the big brick boy. Let's move on to the 1993 to 1998 Nissan Quest, which, if you look closely, you will actually realize it's a Mercury Villager. It's a Ford. That's right. When Nissan was designing this thing, they actually worked with Ford and sort of copied the Mercury Villager design. So this is actually a Ford, and because of that, it's got to go in D tier. So sorry, that's just the way the list works. The B14 Sentra. Let's take the B14 Sentra. Well, let's just drop it here for right now and discuss it. B14 Sentra, 1990 to 1994, was a decent car. A friend of mine had one. I liked it personally. They're just kind of cool. They're not really fast, but it's the kind of car that you drive. You treat the gas pedal as an on-off switch, okay? There is no, lift and coast or ease into the throttle. It's, how much throttle would you like today, sir? All of it. Okay, excellent choice, sir. I'm going to put the B14 base Sentra. I'll put it behind the Maxima. Yeah. That's sort of where it falls in a list in my mind. Just did the B14 ranking in A tier. Now I'm gonna skip around again. We're gonna do the B13 Sentra. This one specifically is the SER. This is a fantastic car. The original Sentra SER sort of set the groundwork for what was to come. I mean, it had front and rear independent suspension, SR20 motor, 5-speed transmission, sunroof, bucket seats, 2 doors, and a spoiler on the back in the early 90s? If you had one of these things, you was straight pimping. This thing is super cool. Is it cooler than the S13? I think so. Is it cooler than an R33 GTR? Maybe. Maybe not. Look, I honestly feel like if you pulled up to the car meet with some people who are super nerdy about their car knowledge and they saw a clean B13 Sentra SER sitting right next to an R33 GTR, I feel like they would have the same amount of people looking at them. I really do. You'd have 20 people looking at the GTR and 20 people looking at the SER. They're just... Ugh. I'm going to leave it here for now in S tier, just behind the R33 GTR, okay? So we just did the B13 and the B14 Sentra. Now we're going to do the B14 Sentra SER, okay? Is this car better than the B13? Hell no. It's fucking garbage. Shitty rear suspension, a weird bubbly shape. I don't even know if it belongs in S tier. I have one of these personally. I'm sure you've seen it on the channel. It's just not really that great. It's fun. But the only redeeming factor about this whole car is the SR20 naturally aspirated motor, which is pretty fun. It's a good stout engine. I'm going to put this one top of A. I would rather have a B13 SER, mostly for the rear independent suspension, like, the rest of these cars in this list have, except for the Maxima. I don't actually know what the Maxima is. but I don't know. The B14 SER, which was made from 1995 to 1999, it leaves a lot to be desired. It really does. Maybe we'll put it in the back. That's technically the last one in S tier. Yeah, that seems a little better. Okay, now we move on to the Z32 300ZX. This thing was made from 1990 to 1996, available in non-turbo, single turbo, or twin turbo. Has a lot of intricate computer systems, looks pretty damn cool, can also go very fast, and they're not really that common either. This is an excellent car. I just have to figure out where it really falls on the list. I'm thinking, no, don't glaze it. S14's not better. You know what? I'm going to move the S14. Yeah. I'm thinking, honestly, is it S tier, though? Imagine, though, if you just picture it in your head. A beautiful, pristinely painted 300Z twin turbo, lowered on some nice wheels, sitting in your driveway. And the T-tops don't even leak. Could you imagine how happy you would be every day to walk out to that and see it? I would be thrilled if I saw that every day when I walk outside. I'm going to put, you know what? We're moving the 300Z up. We're going to put it right in front of the hard body. That is an absolutely solid car. There's not really many downsides to that. All right, now we get to do a car that I would like to personally own one day. A 1996 through 2000 Nissan Stagea, or Stagea. I don't know how you say it. This is a Skyline wagon. There's no other way to sugarcoat it. It's a Skyline wagon. You can have it with an RB20, RB25, RB25 turbo, RB25 naturally aspirated, RB26 twin turbo. If you want to spend all your money and get the 260 Autech RS version, which is at that point it actually is a GTR wagon. But I love these things. They're big boxy wagons. I'm gonna throw it in S tier because I like it more than the Maxima wagon. Up next we have, I believe this is the 95 to 99 Maxima. These aren't really anything special, I'll be honest. They just got a V6 motor and a couple transmissions or whatever. They don't really look cool. They're not really popular in the modifying scene or anything. I'm gonna put the late 90s Maxima. I'm gonna put it in B tier, sort of between the Stanza and the Pulsar. It just doesn't really stand out to me that much. It's not really, there's nothing going on. It leaves more to be desired. Now, moving on to the 2000 through 2008 Nissan Maxima. This thing, if you guys don't know about this, it's being slept on right now, okay? Little secret on these. 2000 through 2001, Maxima just had a regular 3-liter V6 engine, okay? Nothing super crazy. It was still kind of good, okay? But then, in 2003, these guys at Nissan, they woke up one morning, and they were like, let's cook. And they did. Boy, they did. Let me tell you something, all right? They manufactured the most beautiful VQ35DE they could find. They turned it sideways, and they stuck it in the front of the Maxima. And, to top it all off, they gave it an optional 6-speed manual transmission. So that's right. Some of these Maximas had the same motor as a 350Z with a 6-speed transmission in a 4-door family car. What? Why is that not more popular? Just to put this into perspective for you, this is a 255 horsepower family sedan, and the speedometer goes up to 160, and I'm honestly willing to bet it would do 140 or 150. This thing is cool as shit. I'd buy one tomorrow if I could find a manual. I just said I'd buy it tomorrow. It has to go in S tier for me. I'm putting this a manual 3.5 liter V6 Maxima. I'm putting it there. above the Pulsar GTI. I would 100%, I would own one of these tomorrow if I could find one. They're just so damn hard to find because I think they sold maybe 8 of them, but that's beside the point. Next up, we're going to do the 98 to 2000 Nissan Frontier. This thing is honestly, it's like the exact same as the late version. It's the later years of the hard body. It just has a facelift. It's got the same suspension. It's got similar wheelbase. This one has dual overhead cams, whereas the hard body only ever got single overhead cams. I don't know if it's better than the hard body. It's so similar. It's, the first generation Frontier is less impactful than the hard body was. I'm going to put the first gen Frontier just behind the hard body. The 1998 Nissan R390. Now, I'll be honest, I just threw this on the list because I wanted to. I think there's only one road legal version of this car in the world, and the rest of them were race cars for the GT1 class in Le Mans. That being said, this has a 4.5 liter twin turbo V8. That's pretty cool, and it's all aluminum. This is a cool car. I don't know where it actually goes on the list because I couldn't buy one if I wanted to. I could never daily drive this thing because yes, obviously it's cool as shit, but it wasn't actually that good in its racing class that it was in the GT1 class category. I'll put it sort of above the 300Z. I think it's fair. Now we're going to do the 2000 through 2006 Nissan Sentra. This thing had a couple, average engine options. You could have the 1.8 or the 2 liter. You could get it with an automatic or a manual, which is cool. The styling is not bad in any way. It's actually, it just looks like an early 2000s car. I don't have anything negative to say about this car. It's fine. It's just a car, and it does the job of being a car. So we're going to put it just behind the Maxima there. Because, the Maxima, you could get a V6, which is faster. So I'm going to put that just behind the Maxima on that grounds. Moving on to this. The 2002 through 2006 Nissan Sentra SER Spec V. These things are pretty cool. And when I say pretty cool, I mean really cool. They've got cool motor options. They've got big wheels. A weird front bumper. They were available in some cool colors, like this bright yellow here. There was another one that was a metallic blue. They're really cool cars, and they're pretty quick. And if you actually consider how much they cost back in the day, if you compared it, inflation calculated it to now, that's a good value for money. Acceptable amounts of horsepower, wrapped in a fun body that's just overall pretty cool. Now we move on to the first gen Nissan Xterra. On the surface, this is not a very interesting car. I won't lie to you. If you like off-roading, sure, this is great. I don't like off-roading, so this is not going to get a great rating from me. I think my grandma had one of these, so that kind of proves its target demographic. It's going in the top of C, just because it has a really cool transmission, engine, and rear end gear option, potentially. Most of them were just, 3.3 liter V6s, automatics, but, whatever. They're not nothing special. All right, let's come on down the list. This one right here. This is the Nissan Silvia S15, the sort of forbidden fruit that we never got in America. I don't know why the Japanese hate us so much. It probably has nothing to do with 1945 or anything like that at all. But we never got a lot of these cars. And I gotta tell you, if I could go on Marketplace right now and find an S15 that was affordable and reasonably priced, I'd buy it. But these cars are hit with the JDM tax harder than some others because they should be cheap. Because if you really think about it, you're paying for a 4-cylinder turbocharged coupe. Okay? That's the same sort of thing you can get out of a Ford Thunderbird that you can buy on Marketplace every day for less than $2,000. So I love these cars, though. They're so cool. I would buy one if I could afford one. I'm putting it in top of S. I love S15s, but I'll never be able to afford one. Moving on, we've got technically a Nissan, but in reality, it's just an Infiniti G35. But I wanted to keep the list Nissan only, so I sort of snuck this one in there. This is the Nissan Skyline 350 GT, which is just an Infiniti G35. These are pretty nice cars. They've got powerful V6 engines, good transmissions with the CD09s. I mean, there's not a lot of downside to them. It just depends on if you like the way they look or not. And I don't. I don't really like G35s that much. I can respect their engineering, but I don't like them that much. I wouldn't really want to own one. I wouldn't want to be seen driving one. No offense to all my 350Z bros out there, but I'm just not a big fan of them. I respect the engineering though. Following the same trend, we're going to do the first gen 350Z. Okay? This is a great car. Great suspension, great engine, great transmission, great interior. Again, I don't like the way they look. They don't look that cool. See, if I compare it to S15 or something, I would pick an S15 every day of the week. I don't care if the S15's slower. I like it more. And this sort of, the 350Z falls in the same category. I am going to put it slightly higher than the G35 though. I'm going to put it above the 300Z. No, I'll put it above the NX2000 as well. Because, you know, the NX2000 is not better than the 350Z. But a 720 pickup truck is 100%. So that's enough of pissing off my 350Z friends. Let's move on to something else. The 2003 through 2007 Nissan Patrol. Now, this is a sort of weird oddball that we definitely never got in the States. This thing is rocking an RB motor. That's right. You could get several different trim levels of RB motors. They were 6-cylinder off-roading monsters, and I just think they are really cool. I'm gonna put this one's gonna go oh man, the Nissan Patrols are just so damn cool, but I don't know how cool they really are. And I've already said before, I don't really care for off-roading that much. I'm gonna put the Nissan Patrol above the S13, right behind the B13. I think that's somewhat fair. All right, now we're going to do the 2000 through 2004 Nissan Frontier. This is essentially the exact same as this Frontier right here, the first gen Frontier, but it just has a weird body kit on it. It doesn't look very good. It has most of the same engine options and transmission options, which, you know, they were very reliable, but God, that front bumper is so ugly. It's got to go in B tier just because it's so goddamn ugly. And I should mention, we are at the point in the list now, all of these cars were designed and manufactured after Nissan merged with Renault in 1999. So that's why some of the weird characteristics and the CVT problems are going to start showing up here soon, because we're in the Renault era now. So there's not a lot of great cars left on this list. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There's going to be a lot of C's and D's, okay? CD's nuts, bitch. Okay, moving on. What do we got next? What are we going to pick? 2002 through 2006 Nissan Altima. Do I need to say anything else? I myself am not truly dark enough in the skin aspect to own one of these cars, I don't think. There's not really any cool versions of it. There's not really any cool paint colors. There's not any cool engines. It truly is just a competitor to like the Toyota Camry or something. It's just whatever. And you know, it's just not that great. Moving on to the Nissan Quest. 2003 through 2009 Nissan Quest. The Nissan Quest had a 3.5 liter V6 that was shared in the 350Z and the Maxima. And I think for that reason alone, because it has a cool engine option and it's not a particularly ugly minivan as far as minivans go, I'm honestly I'm going to put this one right behind the G35. Because, you know, you got roughly the same engine in these cars. This one's just, you know, more of the soccer mom package, and this one's more of the street takeover package. So that's a good, I like the Quest. It's fine, you know, it does the job. All right. We've got a rough one here. This car in particular right here, 2007 through 2012 Nissan Altima. Oh man, this car gives off big Altima energy. We're gonna put it straight in D. I don't even want to look at it, or else I'll be earning some welfare checks soon. It's so bad. Don't even get me started. Just move on. Let's just carry on and just talk about something else. All right, we'll just forget about it. Forget it ever happened. Up next is we're gonna do the Nissan Cube. It's not nothing special. I don't really like them that much. I like them more than an Altima. We're just gonna put it there. I gotta be honest, we're gonna speed through most of this list because I just don't care about any of these cars. Up next is the 2007 through 2012 Nissan Versa. It's kind of cool. You could get it with a manual transmission. It's kind of like the same as these 80s cars, but not 80s, so it's less cool to me. I'll put it right behind the OG Maxima. There's nothing wrong with it, except if you were dumb enough to buy one with a CVT transmission, then there's plenty of things wrong with it. All right, now this R35 GTR. I don't care. You can say whatever you want. Oh my gosh, they made that car for 18 years. Yeah, because it's good. And when it came out, it was beating Corvettes, Porsches, and Ferraris for a fifth of the price. When this thing first came out in like 2008, this was the budget supercar. And it was exceptionally good. Even in, 2024, when they sort of quit making them, it's still a great car. They just increased the price a little too much. Honestly, dude, I'm going to put the R35 S plus tier. It's an easy S plus tier. Right behind the R32. I don't think anything's going to top the R32. I'm going to be honest. For me, it's just this is the pinnacle. And then, such a good pairing at the top. Moving on to the 2008 to 2013 Rogue. I don't care. Just whatever. It's a car. What more do you expect from it? Now, how about we do this? The 2004 through 2015 Nissan Titan, available with a 5.6 liter V8 engine. Pretty stout 4-speed transmission. Had a great towing capacity. Was a good competitor to the Chevy 1500. We're gonna put the Titan. We're gonna show the Titan some respect. Okay. My dad had one of these. And it was a great truck. We absolutely loved it. We towed a lot with it. I'm going to put it top of A tier. Titan is a good truck. Fight me if you want. This is one of the few things that has come out of the Nissan-Renault merger that was good, is the Nissan Titan. I don't care. You can laugh at me all you want. You say, oh, it's not a real truck. Oh, I don't care. Fuck off. Now we're going to move on to the meme mobile, the how long can they make it and get away with it, the 2005 through 2021 Nissan Frontier. Part of me is like, God damn, why did they make it that long? And then the other part of me is like, it's actually a pretty good truck. It's extremely reliable. And not to mention, you could also get this truck with the Nismo package, which it's pretty cool. I usually like smaller trucks more than full-size trucks, I'll be honest. Which is, kind of, you can see the hard body and the OG Frontier in the S Plus tier. I'm going to put the 2005 through 2021 Nissan Frontier in S tier. I don't know where yet. I'm going to put it right there, right above the S14, behind the R33 GTR. That's such a great truck, okay? And you could get it with a manual transmission. 2003 through 2007 Nissan Murano. These were just kind of whatever. My uncle had one. It wasn't a bad car. It was just, there wasn't really anything good about it. I'm going to put it right behind the Frontier, the second gen Frontier. 2004 through 2011 Nissan Pathfinder had some decent engine options, I guess, but the only problem is they were all paired with an automatic transmission. And Nissan and their automatic transmissions is a combination for disaster. I'm going to put this thing in C tier. It's just sort of whatever, like who cares. 09 through 2014 Nissan Maxima. I mean, Maximas are cool in my opinion because they usually get a lot of horsepower, but they're sort of wrapped in that family sedan. But they don't really look that great anymore. This is one of the last decent looking Maximas in my opinion. I'm going to put the 09 through 14 Maxima. I'm going to put it in between the G35 and the Quest. Now we're going to do the 2010 through the 2017 Nissan Leaf. I mean, it's not a bad car, but is it a good car? No, it kind of sucks. Now, the 2007 through 2012 Nissan Sentra, which was still available with a 5-speed transmission. I think for that option alone, you got to put it ahead of the Quest. No, ahead of the, yeah, in between the G35 and the 9 through 14 Maxima. Now we're going to do the 2013 through 2015 Sentra. Again, still available with a manual transmission, but they just keep getting worse and worse to look at physically. We're going to drop this one down to B tier. The 2008 Nissan Sentra SER Spec V, while it does sport the SER Spec V badge, it's not really like that amazing. We're going to put it just above the OG Pathfinders. I think that's somewhat fair. No, I got to put it, yeah, we'll change it. We'll swap it with the B14 Sentra. Because, this is absolutely way faster than this. I mean, it's no question. It's just still not exceptionally good. We're going to do the 2012 through 2021 Nissan Passenger. This thing is just a work van. There's nothing special going on here. I think all of them sold in white. All of them had automatic transmissions. There's just nothing really to be desired here. They're not bad, I guess, but they're just work vehicles. I'm going to put that in D tier. 2004 through 2015 Nissan Armada. This had the same V8 as the Nissan Titan, and essentially it was the exact same vehicle as a Titan. It just had a closed-in portion. So the Titan was sort of like the Silverado 1500, and this thing was sort of like the Yukon or whatever. It's a little more, posh leather interior and everything. I'm gonna put it right behind the Nissan Titan because they're just it's such a similar vehicle. It's hard to really pick and choose between one. Nope, I lied. I'm gonna put it behind the Nissan 720. We move on to a pinnacle point of driving, the 2012 through 2019 Nissan Versa, the most outdated looking car on the list. Like this thing literally looks like it was made in like 2007, but they sold it all the way to 2019. We're just gonna throw it above the Figaro. Throw it in C tier. Now the 2009 through 2020 Nissan 370Z. It was barely an improvement over the other, the 350Z. I don't think it looks any better though. I don't think it looks any worse. We're just gonna put it right behind the 350Z because it didn't really innovate on very much. It was just sort of a continuation more than an evolution, in my opinion. Oh boy, let's just get out of the way. Nissan Juke, 2010 through 2019. Go ahead and mark them down as the worst period in human history because that was the time frame when the Nissan Juke was sold. All right, we're actually, we can't stand for this. We have to add a row below. We have to go ahead and just reserve a special spot at the bottom of the list for the Nissan Juke, and I'm not even sorry because it's so bad. Let's move on to something a little more positive. Move on to the 2016 through 2024 Nissan Sentra. I think this is a pretty good looking car. It has a decent engine option. They were still pretty unreliable with the CVTs and everything. I'm going to throw this one right behind the OG Maxima. That's a pretty solid car. There's not many things really wrong with it. Now we're going to do the second generation Nissan Titan. I don't think I'm going to put this quite as high as the first gen Titan because I know a lot of the early years for the second gen Titans, they had problems with the lifters failing. And, Nissan would usually fix the list, but overall, I don't think the styling is bad. My dad has, one of these too. I'm going to throw it right behind the OG Titan because I think the OG Titan, no, I'm not going to glaze it, okay? This has, the second generation Titan has roughly the same motor as the first generation Titan, but they managed to squeeze about 100 more horsepower out of it. So I think for that reason alone, and with the increased, optional increased towing capacity, I think the original Titan can only tow about 10,000 pounds or so. The Titan XD, with if you could get the diesel one, I think you could get around 13,000 or 15,000 ish. Don't quote me on it. So overall, it's a pretty good truck. Moving on now to the 2022 to 2025 Nissan Frontier. It looks nice. That's about it. We're just gonna throw it. I don't know. It's not as reliable as any of the older trucks on the list. We're gonna throw it behind the original Pathfinder. It took too long to come out. It's some of the interior still looks a little bit outdated even now. Yeah, we're just gonna throw it there. 2011 through 2017 Nissan Quest. I just don't care. Like, it's not nothing special, whatever. And we're gonna put the second Nissan Quest on this list, which I guess I put the picture in the list twice, right next to it. You know what? Actually, we're gonna move it. I think this one's a little better than that one. How about this? The 2016 through 2024 Nissan Armada. I don't have anything negative to say about it. I don't think it's as good as the original Armada up here. So with, if it's not as good, then it has to go lower. And I'm thinking it's going to have to go probably between the Maxima, between the Sentra and the Versa. It's not a bad car by any means. It's just nothing special going on, really. 2016 through 2024 Nissan Kicks. Who fucking cares? Just put it in D tier. It's a piece of shit. Economy CVT nonsense. Ugh, get it out of my face. This right here, the 2020 to 2025 Nissan Versa. Hear me out, all right? S tier. I'm dead serious, okay? This car in up to 2024, I believe, was offered with an optional 5-speed transmission, the last of its kind, the dinosaur of its day. And up until about 2024, was also priced less than $20,000 for a brand new car. That is extremely competitive in the market space today. I honestly thought about buying one of these at one point with the 5-speed transmission. We're just gonna leave it in S tier, and if you want to argue with it, go ahead and leave a comment. I'll be happy to argue with that. Last car on the list, the 2022 through 2025 Nissan Z, or as some people like to call it, the 400Z. It's not technically a 400Z. Just call it the Z and move on. Ever since they come out in 2022, no joke, I've probably seen 4 of them. But it's about 1 per year average. They're so uncommon. I think part of the problem is that they're really kind of expensive for what you get. But what do you get? You get 400 horsepower, rear-wheel drive, manual transmission, good styling. I think they look very nice. I know some people don't like them, but I do. Oh, I dropped it. All right. We're going to put the new Nissan Z. Honestly, bro, I'm going to put it right behind the Frontier in S tier, just above the S14. That's a really nice car. That's a good solid list. I think that's going to do it for my list here. We ended up with a lot of slop in B tier, C tier, and D tier. Ended up with some pretty good variation across S plus, S, and A tier. We have GTRs, Sentras, Silvias, 200SX, trucks, big and small, and coupes and sedans, and even a minivan in A tier. I mean, you can't say I don't know my stuff if we've got a minivan in A tier. I think that's going to do it for this whole video. I mean, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. And if you did not enjoy this video, then I'm not sure why you really managed to wait till the end to click off of it. Anyways, have a good rest of your day, and goodbye.